Okay, all right. Thank you, W.Media, and very warm good afternoon to all of you. So we have a topic given to us. It's expediting AI-ready data centers and how we have to positioning India as a global AI hub. So fortunately, we have an expert panels. I would say the panels are from the diverse expertise. I would say starting from Nimesh, he is Vice President for sales for hyperscalers in NDT, but I can say that he can represent the business and customer side, so he can touch upon based on customers' angle. Then the Roopesh is here. Let's start from Roopesh. Roopesh is a veteran in designing infrastructures, both power as well as engineering. So he is heading engineering for Sify, and then Kamlesh is here. He is from the power sector. And Jagat is in the operations side. So he had operations, and I do have an experience in operations, and I had operations for ACT Global Data Centers India. So thank you so much for turning up and participating in this. If you put a context, now AI-ready infrastructure, though it was a buzzword, now it's no more a buzzword, but the concepts are really, vague even today. We are not very clear about what exactly is, AI is very clear, what AI can make an impact, business is clear, but how we make AI-enabled infrastructure, so that is where the talk point today. So we'll take a couple of rounds of questions. Of course, we have created some questions, but I don't go by the way we have designed it. We wanted to have an active participation from the audience as well. So we don't have a passive discussion. So definitely keep your questions ready. After the round one itself, you can raise your hands if you have any questions. To any of us, I told you the expertise of each speakers they come from, right? So now I just want to start with a generic topic that what does AI-ready infrastructure means, and what is the context of data centers, and how it differs from a conventional or a normal design. So I would like to take this perspective from each one of them. So first and foremost, let me invite Kamlesh to talk his perspective, and then we'll go to Roopesh and Jagat and Nimesh. Yeah, Kamlesh.
Thanks, Sreejith. I joined Waaree when the group wanted to enter in data center business because of the competitive edge coming from the the power side. Today the data center is actually shaping the landscape, and the data center is is connected the backbone with the interconnected world through a sea cable, and driving the emerging technologies like AI, ML, and deep learning. What we have seen in last 25 years. So if I have to just put this in perspective, the first decade we saw that the densities were not more than 3 or 4 kW, where the companies like IBM, HP, Wipro, Sify, they used to build data center for the captive requirement. And if I look at the second decade of this century, where we saw that after the 4G rollout, the cloud companies started putting a DC capacities in India, and where the large EPC company used to build the data center for them. Now with the current situation where the data center is coming with a large capacity, that's where this competitive edge will come from the power side. Today all these tech companies having their sustainability objective to achieve for a carbon neutrality by 2030 and 40, and that's where we will play our role. Backed up, the power will be backed up with the solar power along with the BESS. So I think that's where we are looking this our business avenues for the next couple of years.
Thanks, Kamlesh. One more quick, interesting question to you. You just touched upon the carbon neutrality, right? So the entire industry is moving towards this carbon neutrality target. Of course, we as an organization, we have a carbon neutrality target by 2030, right? Now, can you just touch upon, before going into the next question, So how is it practical? How do we achieve this carbon neutrality? Because you are an expert and you are into the power sector. I just wanted to just take a quick question.
Thank you so much. See, to run our data center 24/7, we eventually require power for a 24/7. Using the solar during the sunny days, it will probably serve purpose not just for the entire day. It may be served for the 6 to 8 hours. Where we are coming now is, since our grid is not stable today, so what the government has started a PLI scheme for, coming with the BESS, which is a battery energy storage solution, and this can be used in the peak hours between 6 to 10 p.m. So that gives another, advantage for us to, remain with the sustainability side of it. Maybe, we can call it as a sustainable data center, but yeah. In the long run, what we are seeing is the nuclear power, which is being talked about, especially in terms of the West, where they are heading towards SMR, small modular reactor. Maybe I'll just give you one example. I was talking to one of the energy company who has their operation in India. They were talking to the cloud company back in US. They said, why don't you create a backward integration for us to generate a power of 1.5 gigawatt? So I think this is what we have reached that stage where the capacity has gone significantly up because of these emerging technologies. And if I have to give you another perspective, recently the Goldman Sachs has also given their analysis that globally today we are at about 59 gigawatt of power. By 2027, this will touch about 84 gigawatt. And by 2030, they anticipate it will touch about 122 gigawatt. What we built in last 30-35 years globally, we are probably going to be double just less than 5 years. So I think this is what I see where the power is actually going to play a larger role.
I think there's a lot of data points, technologies like BSD, SMR, and we will talk more offline. So when we come to Roopesh, you can just take your perspective of AI ready data centers. How do you take it forward?
Yeah, good afternoon. So this AI ready, in a simple words, if I say that it is something like the data centers which are ready for the AI workloads, and that is kind of changing the traditional threshold, right? So as Kamlesh mentioned, 25 years back, 3 kilowatt rack was high density, right? So you and me know it very well. When we started the first data center in Waaree, 2 kilowatt was a high density.
2 kilowatt was very high.
Yeah, very high. That's what I'm saying. That
1 kilowatt.
It's a very high density rack, a data center. So from there, look at the way it has been transitioned, and along with the IT transition, we have seen this data center infra also transitioning to kind of accommodate these kind of requirements. So now the AI ready data centers, we are talking about high power density. So from 2 or 3, now we are talking about 200 plus, right? So that's a kind of density has gone. The cooling technologies has kind of emerged. So from a simple air cool, now we are talking about direct chip and many other forms of liquid cooled racks. And equally important is the network infrastructure. So we are talking about very robust, multi-tier network infrastructure. And the power infra is also getting attention now in the sense it demands for a very high, reliable, robust, power infrastructure. So I mean, all of us are kind of investing a lot of money on on-site substations, mainly because of this reason, because it needs that kind of a power. So when you look at, or if I have to summarize this, the space, the power, the network cooling, these are kind of defining the new age AI data centers. Just want to add one more aspect to that is the intelligence which is getting added into these data centers. So beyond all this infrastructure, we are also kind of learning and we are also implementing an intelligent data center infrastructure now that can be almost kind of an autonomous operations possible for all these AI ready data centers. That's my take on it.
Yeah, one this was
I
yes,
just
go
wanted
ahead.
to add one line. I think days we have seen where the white space used to be about the 50%. It has come down to 40%, 30%. I think we are seeing days today where the white space is probably will touch about 20-25%, where the utility will actually going to take a large space.
Yeah, that's right. The white space is actually shrinking, and your other spaces are actually increasing. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Roopesh, curious, one more clarification. So now, you design and build a lot of data centers across the region. I know in Mumbai, now Telangana and other part of the country. I'm sure you design philosophy is hyperscalers or normal scalers now AI ready. So, is there maybe in 30 seconds, can you just give a differentiator? How do you give an extra questions when you do AI ready data centers versus a typical hyperscaler data center? So, in simple terms, how do you differentiate it?
See, in practical, if you look at, we have adopted a common design philosophy. That is our pod architecture, right? So we kind of standardized and modularized our entire infrastructure so that the same modules can be multiplied to become an enterprise or a hyperscale data centers. So same flow, you can build or you can add one or X pods into that. So that becomes your high-dense systems. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, all those things comes backed up by a very highly intelligent AI ML enabled operation philosophy or the operation framework. That is kind of integrating this whole thing so that we can kind of deliver all these capacity seamless.
Is it also applicable for the liquid cooled kind of setups like DCLC or liquid immersion cooling? If it comes, the same philosophy is applicable there as well?
Of course, so that is one differentiator, one USP. I would say that the way we have been designed our facilities, it is applicable across all kind of technologies. Of course, there are different technologies like liquid cooled may have a different end device, but then your backplane, which is a critical thing for you to design or derive your scalability, that remains fundamentally the same thing. So it's kind of a pod multiplier. So only your end delivery devices may vary, but then that can be easily plugged into your backplanes. So that makes your expansions and scalable, very fast.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that addresses the scalability aspect as well, right? It's interesting. So let me come back to Nimesh and then we'll come back to Jagat for operation. So Nimesh, I think you can just deliberate this AI-ready infrastructure with respect to, forget about the organization you work as a customer angle. So how do you see this?
Hello everyone. Thank you for having me here. It's absolute pleasure to talk on this most dynamic topic, AI and association of AI with data center. Right? AI-enabled data center is not just a buzzword. It's not just a phrase, but it's an absolute measurable parameters. Parameters which can be measured by efficient design from the shell and code, right? Efficiently designing the electrical, mechanical, and also on the network front. Right. You also mentioned about the difference between the traditional versus now. Right. See, I'll first bring across the difference part, and then we'll focus more on the current AI infrastructure. You guys have already addressed most of the things about the traditional infrastructure, the compute utilizations on the rack level. But apart from the rack level, if you see the design difference also, initially the operating temperature used to be somewhere around 22, 20, 24, right? So with the type of new chips which are coming in, which can operate at a higher temperature, which has resulted into change in the inlet temperature of your chillers, which generally used to be 20 to 24, 28, now it's moving from 24 to 30. Now even on the air side, like I can say 27 to maybe 32, right? Which is helping to operate data center more efficiently. And that's the reason we say that AI is helping in a better PV outcome. Right? On the electrical side, we have seen a change from the traditional I'll say more than 150% change growth out of there is there on the electrical side. 630 amp from the PGU level or a breaker level is now what 800 amp or 1000 amp rupees, right? Now that's what the change which we are seeing, which was not there traditionally. On the shell and core side, which we were very easily operating at false flow level, 4.5, 5 meter floor to floor, it's no more there. We need those true floor infrastructure, fan wall cooling to handle those high compute on the air, 40 degree, 50 degree and so on. And if we are not addressing that high density infrastructure, then we will not say that we are AI ready. So AI ready means we must be ready to handle the high compute at the rack level from 50 to maybe 250 kilowatt per rack, depending on the type of cooling infrastructure, right? We must be ready to remove the heat from the source, the delta level, directly from the source. And for which air is not only a medium, we will have to switch to the other mediums like liquid, maybe immersion or maybe direct contact, right? And that's what, if your data center is ready. And let's not forget on the network front. Network front, the east-west and north-south traffic is very critical. And especially when the terabytes and gigabytes of data has to be crunched within a fraction of seconds, you need a network code of what? On those days of 100G and all, now you are talking about 400G, maybe 800G, right? And the data center which is enabled with all this, I will say that is AI-enabled data center, right?
Right. Thanks, Nimesh. When it comes to Jagat, I think you are leading the operations function, most critical, like me. So I just wanted to request you to touch upon now we talked about design philosophies and construction philosophies and challenges, and how do you make the operation side ready to cater this kind of managing the infrastructure? Is it the same way, or you have some different methodologies to approach?
No, I'll see traditional IT system where to extend that they used to have maybe cushion of 10 to 20%, cushion in terms of the power and cooling and everything. They were pretty stable compute system and storage. That's all traditional IT. But then AI infrastructure is in a nature it is about to burst, and it can burst anytime based on your training requirement. Night you don't even know. So from operational side, what we are looking for is to have a capacity at least 30 to 40% in terms of the network, in terms of the power, in terms of the cooling, everything. And also please remember that compute capacity of your H100, 200 or all series coming in, 1.5 year, 2 year, they're just getting doubled, right? So whatever you create today operationally, probably will choke it out at your building level, floor level, right? So capacity is one of the thirst here. Second thirst is the sustainability and your power demand, okay? Power demand is absolutely in gigawatt scale, it's not even megawatt scale, right? So wherever we feed the power from a grid or maybe from renewable power, we have to make sure that we catch up the demand, right, from the market, for the customer. Third thing is that monitoring and telemetry of this AI workload. Unlike your traditional IT, we used to have some BMS and some DCIM. Here you have to AI actually workload is basically a cost-centric, cost-sensitive. Whatever you consume, there is cost for that, right? You must measure and monetize it. Right? There is a tools and ways to do it. DCIM, any of the solutions like BMS, you must prioritize your compute based on the energy cost that you have, slot-wise, day-wise, night-wise. If there is bankable energy, if there is an energy storage system, probably we have to tailor it out the compute versus energy availability. I think these are operational measures to bring out operational costs rather than just a
That's right. So how do you look at the staffing?
Sorry?
How do you see the staffing? Is the staffing is going to be more or less balanced, or traditionally it is more, futuristic is going to be less?
See, the IT, traditional IT, they used to be like a client-server operation. Okay, there is a server, there is a client. So it was more like north and south traffic, more stress, right, bandwidth. Here the game is changed completely. It is just east and west. One GPU talking to another GPU within the same room. So they have grown to 100 GB, 400 GB, 800 GB within the room itself, right? The more focus on your multi-mode and infinite-band connectivity. So yes, traffic is another aspect to look into network.
Thanks. Now we are talking about positioning India as an AI compute hub. So I just wanted to touch upon that subject. How do you see that agenda forward? What are the roadblockers being India coming into the AI data center hub? So maybe if you can just ask Kamlesh, what is your perspective? And again, you touched upon sustainability aspects as well. So keeping it scalability and sustainability in our mind, how do we take India, or how India will take an AI hub?
Sure, thanks. See, today the challenge, for us is our grid is really not stable where, we can think of, the capacities which is required by 2030 will be able to cater that. But of course, on the same time, there is a sustainability objective coming from the tech companies or cloud companies that we need to achieve, as I said, by 30 or 40 or 50% in due course of time. So how do we actually balance? It's really, we need to see what capacities are actually going to roll out based on the demand which is anticipated. Wherein what actually, comes to my mind is, before that, if I talk about, how much capacity will really come for the AI workloads, there are a couple of things, there is I would say, there is a lack of capital, which will really match to the global AI workloads. We talked about, the resource issues. So there is a, scarcity we have seen in the resources. While the data center has grown, at a CAGR of 30% in the last 4 or 5 years, we always see that, the scarcity is going to come. Going, remotely over a period of time, it will, it is really going to take I would say a lot of capital is required to really going remotely as of now. But yeah, what I foresee is, there are a couple of challenges is going to remain for power, for the resources.
You're talking about capital and stuff is the most
yes, and most important is, the land cost now.
real estate.
Real estate. So if you see today,
I think we can overcome, because now real estate, you're talking about the metro cities, right?
exactly, because that's fall in the availability zone. That's fall in the availability zone. If I compare just 2 or 3 years ago, the cost of real estate in, I just touch upon only Navi Mumbai, is gone more than twice.
Yeah.
Right. So as an investor, what actually, they look at it, is my IRR is still intact? But on the same time, these are also realities that, we talked about. The white space is
going into the finance case at this point of time. So, Roopesh, according to you, what is your view? So, will you be able to, compete with the US folks or any other regions where India can take a lead in infrastructure ways?
Yeah, I strongly believe that, Sreejith, because the roadblockers, what we're calling now, I would say that this is kind of a learning phase now for India also, right? Because we are seeing this very recently. India is going through this, I would say that it is post-COVID, right? So we all know how it was the pre-COVID and the surge which happened after post-COVID. But look at the way the state governments and the India government has come up with various policies and support around that. Look at the state governments releasing data center policies. So that shows the kind of a focus the government has. And the national data center policy, which is also in the draft phase now, so that's also kind of helping us. See, the fact is that we did not really imagine the kind of research which is happening now. But look at this. We all, including the complete ecosystem, could kind of immediately upskill and then come up with solutions and services, infrastructure, capacities to kind of meet this kind of demand. I won't say that it is perfect, but I think we are almost kind of going to conclude all those things to kind of make India the leader in this industry now. So, I mean, I would say that we may not be able to compare really with the US because they are far away, but then we are not, too small also. We are also kind of growing. Look at the predictions which is there, and look at the announcements various organizations making for the India investment. So we are going towards that. And I would say that all these small roadblocks, what we are seeing in terms of capacities, what Kamlesh has pointed is very well, because the power, certain states, we still have some challenges. So that's why you see a lot of concentration in certain states, right? So it is going to, get resolved. And look at the way the computing is going to the edge now. So that also, because that is all in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So they also have to come up with.
I think you're mostly saying you're on track.
I strongly believe that we are on track and then we will achieve there.
Right. So Nimesh, if I may ask you, so you day in and day out, you speak to customers, right? Almost all the hyperscalers, I think. And basically all the hyperscalers are in something from the US region, right? So what is their perspective? Are they looking India as just a, traditionally they look at cost perspective. So is their, mindset is changing, or how is it? How are they, the customer's perspective, when you look at India, and how do we, take it India as a hub or really this thing? And is there any roadblockers with respect to customers looking at it?
Very interesting question. I wish I could give you all the insight about it. But let me tell you, give you an answer from a three perspective. I'll also add on, is there some roadblocker? That was one of the questions which you asked. See, the customer, what they want is the speed and cost, for sure. Right? At what speed you can make and at what affordable cost you can put it across on the table. Now, cost is not only about providing it at a one time, but also on the operational cost also, right? Sustainable cost. And that's a place where India is at a very sweet spot, very, very sweet spot. Yes, compared to many countries globally, we have relatively economical land cost which we have. Our constructions are fairly much economical compared to many countries, right? Let's understand on our strength. Our strengths are our people, 1.5 billion resources which we have, right? 1.5 billion brains, that is our strength. Followed by, we also have a local manufacturing a lot, and especially the boost coming from the government side, right? We are able to control on the input cost, which directly result into the output cost when we sell to the client. Now, speed and cost is definitely driving them to come here. But that's not only the reason. The second reason is, I mentioned 1.5 billion brains generating the amount of data, and the amount of data resulting into the crunching of it, right? Now, it depends on a use case. If there becomes a mandate for a data localization, then you don't have an option. You have to build your infrastructure here. But are we ready for it? My answer may be, we are close, but not very close, right? Everyone is coming and talking about 1 gigawatt, 2 gigawatt, 5 gigawatt, and so on. As per the current data, we are using less than 1% of the total power generated in India. When we say we use Datacenter data. By 2030, we will be using 3% of the total power generated, and it's a huge number. Can this power be supported by generating from the renewable energy side? Maybe yes. But as Kamlesh mentioned, we also need to see that are our transmission line good enough to take that load. Right? One GPU, the power which they are taking is nearly as good as one house power which we generally take these days. Now, in order to make this happen, the second point is also make the subsea cable readiness. We have a subsea ready. The new subsea has to come, and they are coming. That's on the way. And it's a time to open up a new subsea landing stations beyond Mumbai and Chennai. And having that will result into bringing more compute to India, which can serve maybe other countries from India.
I think there are cable stations planned other part of this.
So we are close, but not yet very close.
I understand. Okay, good.
I just wanted to put to area here one. Skilled manpower for the AI related infrastructure. Even today, the data center operator, they're struggling with skilled manpower, right? Traditional IT system. And AI definitely needs upskilling of the people for sure if you have to catch up with other nations. Some of the bottlenecks we still see that a scalable grid level power, which is not available. If you talk about tier 2 city, absolutely there's no clarity, there's no development. Talk about cities like Indore. Okay, there are more AI now workload has gone because of absolutely there is enough policy support from the government, infra support from the government, logistics support from the government. So I think if you have to spread across the whole country, the tier 2 city as well, the local production for all the supply ecosystem, for example, battery, if you have to store energy, if you have to produce energy, if you have to produce energy in southern part of the country where the coastal area, you have to store there, you have to consume also there. The AI problem is there as you produce your potential. Okay, that is the key point here. And if you are able to bank it, if you are able to store it, well and good. I think these are some concepts still there. We are catching up. We are not at pace, definitely. We definitely need to have a pace in this area.
Thanks. Now let's go to the audience. I'm sure you must have listened to the experts. Do you have any questions to any of the experts? Okay, no questions. Thank you so much. I think we are also on time. The next round, I don't think the time permits us. So thank you so much. It was a wondering and enabling, vibrant session with us. So thanks for your active participation. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.